Hello from nowhere. We're on my favorite mountain. You know the one I always say at the beginning of the video. We're on the Mystic Mountain, guys. I don't know if y'all been following my posts and my pictures about this journey. Oh boy. Fought this forest. Not out of cruelty, but it's overgrown. A lot of it's fire hazard. It's full of these dead trees. There was a awful tornado. I don't remember the year. I think it was a 2009 or 2010 or I can't remember. I'm lucky I can do math. It's about as far as it goes with numbers. No, I'm kidding. No, look. You'll never know if I'm really kidding. All right. So you see all these dead trees laying over, man. They were just like that long tree right there. That right there, all this fuel on the ground. Well, you can't see it. I've been running this stuff over my tractor and my box blade. But if you've ever been in the forest, you know what I'm talking about. Let's try to zoom in right here. It'll be a bunch of dead leaves, pine needles, dead branches that are full of flammable sap and resins and whatnot. And all it takes, guys, I'm not sure how wildfires start, but what I'm trying to fix here, this stuff is what you hear about on the news. Well, how did it happen? Well, it was poorly managed forest, and the forest caught on fire. It was a wildfire, and it wipes out like everybody's homes. I mean, I live in Alabama, and I don't know how they manage the forest, you know. It's none of my business. I've got enough to deal with before I go getting nosy about that. But there was mountains of dead trees in this forest, especially in this section. Like I was saying, I'm sorry, I kind of went off in the wilderness. But back in about 2009, 2010, I can't remember which year, there was an awful storm that ravaged Alabama. Places that never, and so a lot of people remember Shoal Creek Valley. It ripped up entire forests. They aligned the roads. That's how bad it was. It lined a 9-mile stretch of road with trees that size that stood up. They were piled up like a crudely constructed wall, like a 10-foot orc-looking wall, orc engineered. And storms come through, and you know what happened was here. Their idea of cleaning up the forest or the storm damage was to basically, and I'm going to get where you can see it so you'll understand. Basically, where I'm walking now used to be a road. And that road, I can't say for sure, but I'm pretty sure where my tractor, the back of my tractor is between them two thin trees, that looked like more of a road before the rains came, and I've been rolling over it, so kind of sloped down. But that to here, to basically this center, I believe their idea of cleaning up storm damage was to make that road and then drag all of it and pile it up all through this, but mainly right here from what I can tell and on down. And it was piled up. And in Alabama, you know, usually we get a lot of rain. So you don't really hear about too many forest fires happening in Alabama, but we also have extreme heat and we have dry spells where you can't even start a fire because it may get out of hand. I mean, if you think about a fuse on something, you light it and the spark goes down, a fuse hits the little bottle rocket or whatever, and the bottle rocket ignites. That's basically what dead leaves, dead branches, twigs, dead logs are. They're basically a fuse. And all it takes is one person tossing a smoked cigarette butt out of the road down there on Highway 11. All it takes is one person on the 4th of July shooting off a firework that leaves sparks going everywhere. All it takes is one little spark to ignite a fuse. And then the forest is on fire. And people are running for their lives and evacuating. And it brings my next point. Land ownership is important, because you have to manage what you own. Because everywhere I'm stepping, this is prime. This is set to blow. All it takes is one little spark, you know, and all of a sudden the forest is on fire and no one's able to put it out, and everybody loses their homes. Everybody loses their cars. Everybody's losing pets. And sometimes people are losing people. That's all it takes, is just one little spark on stuff like that. And, you know, when trees fall over, like that right there, those two are dead. They're leaning on a living tree, and that's why they haven't hit the ground. They stay up in the air like this. And like I said about fireworks, when you shoot them in the air, well, if that stuff's been leaning on stuff for a few years and it's dried out and a spark hits that, and then the whole forest is on fire. You know, everybody wants to own land, and everybody wants to, and we live in America where you have that opportunity. If you can, you know, you can own some land, and that's a great thing. But we've got to start managing our properties better. I mean, when you're driving through, say Colorado, it's all like nicely managed. You don't come to spots where I didn't when I went. Now, I didn't go everywhere in Colorado, and Colorado is a massively gigantic state, so forgive me if I'm ignorant. But I went in a lot of places. I went to Pikes Peak, and I went to a few other places, and I drove through the countryside. And it's all manicured. And not in the sense that they've got, like, I'm sure there's landscape companies, but not that they have landscape companies coming out every 5 minutes to clean up their properties. But it's like they trim the dead trees. They don't just pile them up in the middle of the forest. This dangerous as hell. That stuff right there, that's dangerous as hell. And it's all in this forest. It goes down this hill for at least a quarter. I'm not sure how long it is, but it goes down this hill just like this for a long ways. And it's like all it takes is one spark, and the whole forest erupts into flames. And I have plans for my forest. It's a work in progress. I'm almost done with this part, you know. But I'm down here for two main reasons. I'm down here to clean up all this fire hazard, because if it gets up there, my house is right up there. Nothing will stop this. It'll engulf around us. We'll have to run for our lives. We may lose everything. You know. So I'm cutting them down. I'm cleaning it up. You know, I'm probably going to make a fire break that's a little bit away from my house. So in the event that fires come, they don't destroy everything that I have. You know, because most places, you know, nothing's predictable. So I'm down here. I'm trying to clean this up. I'm fighting this forest. But I don't know if you guys can tell, but I've come a long way through this forest, and it's like every time I peel back a layer, every time I cut down a layer, there's another layer. It's like, to be honest with you, this forest really should have been cross-cut. It should have been completely cleaned out. It should have been completely cleaned off. And, you know, and then maybe grass planted, or maybe plant you some more trees, and you take care of it. I'm gonna sit down. My wife's been helping me. You know, she helped me a few times, but I'd rather do it myself, because you know, I appreciate her help, but it's like I don't want her to get hurt and slip down a hill and stress herself too much, because this is hard physical labor, and I'm used to it because I was a mechanic for 5 years. And I did, you know, my body's kind of accustomed to it. You know, I've written a good bit about survival energy. And survival energy, if you want it in a way that a lot of people can understand it, it comes from the red chakra. I apologize, I can't pronounce these chakra names, but I can tell you what they are and what color they are. That's the point. So survival energy comes from your root. You think of your spinal cord as a literal electrical cord. You go red, orange, yellow, green, blue. Some people think of it as purple. It's technically indigo and violet, but purple is acceptable in America, you know, how we count after all. And then you got your top one, and it's usually white to silver. And there people say there's other ones. I don't know. I keep it simple till I know otherwise. And I know there's one on the back of your head. When my energy flows really, really hard, it flows up around the side of my head and to the back of my head and to the top of my head, and it doesn't hurt, but I can feel it. It's like it's energy, man. You know, if you need an explanation, it's like a burning sensation, a tingling sensation, but like amped up to maximum mode. And it doesn't hurt, and it doesn't feel like you're getting shocked, but that's energy moving through your body. And you know, moves upward in me. And whatever you want to make of that, there's a few people with explanations, but you know, nobody really knows, because it's not like we can ask the spinal cord, why are you moving energy upward? We just enjoy the ride. So I've written a lot about survival energy, and to those of us who are adapted to it, that survival energy is what when you see people, the easiest way I can explain this in American is when you see people at a cash register at a fast food restaurant, and they're yelling and they're cursing at the cashier over something, over a sandwich, and you're seeing them act like this over a damn hamburger. It's not the hamburger, it's what's inside them. It's the survival energy. And that trigger, and the reason it's survival energy is because it's the emotions that go with survival. And why are you saying, well, why are they in a survival situation at McDonald's? Because when people go through extreme traumas and stress, and they live their life in almost a perpetual state of survival, so to speak, if you don't understand what I'm saying by now, bear with me. And they're in a state of survival. And some people have lived their way since they were a child to the time they'll die, and they think it's normal. And they're the ones that are freaking out because that survival energy is what they run on. And how do you get it to stop? Well, you have to realize it's not normal first, and it doesn't make you a bad person, but it's not normal. And there's a time and place for survival energy. But it's not at a cash register at McDonald's, because someone made a slight mistake that can be fixed really easy and quickly, all right? So when you see that happening, that would be like survival energy out of balance, and they don't understand that that's what's happening. And if they did, they might calm down. What you do is you're going to have to get your body and your mind and your subconscious components there to understand that you're not in a state of survival. You're at a McDonald's. And you're not at a state of survival unless you're in a state of survival. It's a lot of work. That's why they call it work. It's a spiritual journey. Work. But if you see someone doing that, try to be merciful with them. Just the best thing to do is try to get away from them. All right? Because you never know. Survival means basically I'm seeing the world through the lens of survive or die. And that's not, and you see how they're acting on a hamburger. It's not the damn hamburger. You know, it's that energy, survival energy, survival, because it's encoded with all the emotional content, energy and motion that is required to keep you alive and kicking. And that means anger, aggression, frustration, and hastiness, because it's survival. So what you need to do is when you see it happening anywhere, you need to realize that's what it is. And, you know, if you want to go try to help them at your own discretion, you can get hurt. You can get emotionally scarred. You can get physically scarred. It can go really bad, really fast. And unless you think that jumping on a rodeo bull is something appealing to you, you might not want to get involved. All right? It's like exorcism. You're going to cast out the energy that is twisting the person. You're going to cast it out. And there's some of us it comes natural, and you get a feel for it, and you know how to work with it to get it out. And you can never not know enough. So pick up a book and learn from other people and talk to other people who know. But proceed at your own discretion. Exorcism not for the faint of heart. So when you see people acting like that, it's their survival energy. It's the emotions that drive that. And because people aren't doing that, and they've never, to most people, if you tell them that's not you and this and that, they're gonna think you're crazy. It is far out there, but you know it's the truth. Oh, so you know, so I basically I run on the survival energy, and you know that means that I understand its nature and I understand it. So when it's telling me to throw things, I know, well, that's just a survival energy. You got to step back from yourself, watch it and understand, and then you can use it to your advantage. But you can't use it to your advantage if you don't even know what the hell it is that's making you do things. So when I get down here and I go for days and days and days and days, you know, I can feel my experience with the world and how I'm feeling start to change to frustration and aggravation and exhaustion, and I can just say, okay, it's okay, because the way you get rid of this is you just stop. So sometimes you have to stop for days and rest, and then you'll be back to normal, and you know there's a price to pay to everything. I want to get this done. I don't want it to take 20 years of my life. So I'm gonna keep on going, and I'm gonna be tired as I do it, and occasionally I'm gonna cuss at a tree that's not cooperating, because something about doing that makes more energy flow, and then you can keep going. You know, who knows? You know, but that's another reason why you see people doing that, because it's something to do with induction. You can induct other people's energy. If you make them feel a certain way, something inside of you can grab onto that energy, and you'll feel better. And people say, well, that's just how someone makes themselves feel better. Yeah, it is. Now think about that statement and what it actually means. Now that doesn't mean that I'm walking around yelling at folks when I'm tired. No, because I know better, and I know there's a better way. You'll go sit your butt down on the couch and you rest. Sometimes you got to rest for 2 days. Go watch TV. You know, because, you know, it's all part of the journey through life. I'm just sharing what I've learned and what I know. So I'm almost right where I need to be. I can see the line across this whole thing. I'm almost there. I'm about to try and rip that big tree out. I got to cut it into some smaller pieces. And, you know, it's been a long journey. And just, if you own land, manage it, take care of it, clean it up. Because if you don't, that big old tree right there, that's enough to start an inferno, start a wall of fire. You'd be falling down a burning ring of fire. So, you know, if you own land, take care of it. Because catches on fire, I mean, it's just how it is. So I got a good bit to go over here. Today I'm just trying to catch this part up and then get all this cleaned out of the way so I can cut to that area. When I do, I can go all the way across. But I hope you guys have a great day. I hope you're both blessed and cursed. And I hope you have a great day.